Welcome back. I'm in a new location this morning. Saturday morning, no wind, should be great for wildlife photography. As always, I'm using my Nikon Z6 II, the 200 to 500, and I've got a new Rode microphone to capture the sounds of the bird life when I'm recording. But I'm not using my tripod this morning. The walk here is about 3 kilometers. It's really going to push me. I normally don't walk that far, and carrying a tripod all that way is a bit too much for me. So I don't know how much video recording I'm going to do. But I've got my Monopod here this morning. On this artist tripod that I bought, I had like an extended tube that I could put on top of the tripod. But I was having a play with it last night and I go like, hey, I could just put this on the top of my Monopod and it'll give me some stability so I don't have to have this very thin wonky leg open. So I'm going to have a very stable Monopod with me this morning. Let's get going. Now a friend of mine, Ricky Goodyear, he comes jogging here and he was telling me the amount of bird life that is around here. We're just going to give it a crack, see what we find. I know some people are out, they just want to take photos of birds. For me, I always tell people it's the experience. Just walking through here is so peaceful. If I get great photos, I am happy. If I don't, I've still had a great time. This morning I'm really wanting to put the Z6 II focus system to the test, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to try focus tracking. So this is focus tracking on the Nikon Z6 II, and it'll also do the same on the Nikon Z7 II. I just place the tracking box over the eye, all over the head, use my back button focus to lock on, and now bird moves, I keep the bird sharp. So wherever it moves in the frame, it takes off, it will also just follow that space. I want to see in this environment, not in just the open air, in this environment, if it works. If it doesn't work, then I'm going to go back to just single point because I've had a horrendous time with dynamic autofocus, and I'll talk about this in the next video that I do about autofocus modes for the Z6 II, but this morning it's focus tracking. So let's get cracking and see what photos we can get of these birds. So I can just see some quails up the head here. So I'm going to come up a bit closer and take some photos. They're a bit of a distance, but I'll walk closely to them. Hopefully I'll get some nice photos of these quails. So I got a couple of photos of the brown quails, and just as I finished taking photos of the brown quails, I was just going to pick up my camera again, and I noticed well, I call them brown cuckoo doves, but I'll put the description here. One just flew just in the trees beside me, playing hide and seek with me. Very happy with the photo that I got of it. So it's just after 7 o'clock. Been walking for just over half an hour. I only made it to 400 meters. There's a nice bench seat here, so I'm just going to take a break. One thing I did notice, and I gave up very quickly, I stayed at the start of the video. I was going to give focus tracking a go here. Didn't work. I had to switch off focus tracking very quickly and just go back to single point because there's too much shrubbery around the bird and it just wouldn't lock onto the bird. But the amount of bird life I've already seen, there's a lot of trees about, as you saw at the start of the video, and I'll just video a little bit to show you the amount of trees and how high these trees are. So don't expect perfect bird photos all the time. I only got a couple of good photos. It's hard to see, but there's a noisy firebird sitting on its nest over there. So you might be wondering, why am I just walking on this narrow path where the opportunity of photographing birds is limited compared to if I was walking beside the lake? Well, at the moment the lake's quite full, so I can't walk on the side of the lake. And also, you can see there's very tall grass beside the path here. We're getting towards the start of summer, and this is perfect snake habitat, especially red-bellied black snake. So look at this termite mound up here. So this is where either the sacred kingfishers or the forest kingfishers nest. Now this one doesn't have any bird poop on the side, there's no scratches, so obviously it's not used this year. Now I class this area open woodlands, and I've seen a lot of birds around already, but they're way up in the trees. And if you look at the height of the trees here, trying to photograph birds are way up the top here is very hard. Now I have heard sulphur-crested cockatoos. I'm hoping that they're just down here. Don't know if you can hear them, but I can just see them. I'm going to rest up my monopod with the Z62 and the 200 to 500. Try to get some photos and some video of these birds. Now I just got some great video of some sulphur-crested cockatoos. They weren't moving, they were feeding on the leaves and some nuts in the tree. Now I'm in silent photography for the first time. You don't realise how many photos you're taking, but all you're seeing is just this blink, 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 14 frames per second, because I'm shooting on high extended. So just wanting to see how good it is and how it tracks a bird that's moving around. And I got a few photos of the cockatoos in flight. Seeing these cockatoos, being able to take a bit of video of some cockatoos was just amazing. So I say, as a wildlife photographer, you nearly need eyes in the back of your head. Well, I scan from left to right all the time, listen for birds. And look at this, right up here, it's a finch nest. Now I don't know if it's a double bar finch nest or red-brow finch nest. So this is the sort of things you've got to keep an eye on. Looks a bit old. At least you know that there's birds around here. We're probably about a third of the way through the walk, about a kilometre. The water's so high that there's reeds on the foreshore and we just can't access the dam walking around the foreshore. There's a little path here. Now this would be perfect in the afternoon. Not now because you've got to see the sun's in front of us, but in the afternoon. The sun's behind you, and if there's cormorants and all that in the water, you get some nice photos. There's some cormorants further over there, and I'll take some photos and a bit of video. But look at the reeds. They're right up the edge. There's no way you can walk around here. Now there's some black cormorants, some small pied cormorants. Now this is quite far away from me, so I'm in DX mode. This is why I love the Z62. The video from this camera is just amazing. So remember that the Nikon 200 to 500 is tripod aware, means it's monopod aware, so it knows I'm on a monopod. Now there are a couple of spots where you do get a bit of opening, like here. And this is a place which you'll most likely find wrens. I can hear some, but they're in the lantana, at least 15 metres away from me, just a little bit far. But we'll just keep on walking. So I just saw a couple of brush turkeys fly from the track here. One of them's up in the tree here. I'm going to stop, take some photos and hopefully a bit of video of it up in the tree. And people don't realise that brush turkeys actually will fly up into the top of the trees here. Now something you have to be mindful about when we're shooting wildlife, especially like in the trees where the bird could be a bit backlit. I don't mind using exposure compensation and blowing out the highlights, because I'd rather blow out the highlights and get some definition of the bird than go home and having to use Lightroom to bring out a lot of the shadows in the bird, because all that's doing is just you're inducing more noise. So we're just coming up to a junction here. So we've got Bullock Arrest 2.5 kilometres. Well, for me it's about 1.5 kilometres. Forgan Cove's about 1.5 kilometres that way, or 1.7. But this track up here is a track we're going to take to go back to the car. I don't like walking all just on the same track that I've just been. So we're going to walk up the track here, but we're just going to walk down here just a little bit. I'll show you where I see a lot of wrens and finches sometimes. I have photographed quite a bit of birds, and really got to thank Ricky Goodyear for giving me the tip on this place. I will just walk down here. I can see a little pied cormorant resting on a dead tree in there, so I'm going to stop the camera, try to take some photos of it, and then we'll start the camera back up again. A little pied cormorant here, just having a rest. I got some nice photos of the cormorant and a bit of video. I just want to show you what this area looks like. This is like a little headland here. This is where you'll often find finches and other grass birds that habitat this area. Could also get a chance of photographing cormorants and pelicans. We got some white ibises up here, Australian white ibises, just walking away. So you can see it's a nice little headland here. All the video that I'm taking with my Z6 II with the 200 to 500mm is in 4K. Today I'm shooting at 50 frames per second because it gives me the ability that I can crop in a little bit more. At 50 frames per second, the video is twice the resolution. Now I'm going to put the camera away and just walk back a little bit because I've got a couple of pelicans coming this way. We'll see if we can get a couple of photos and some video of the pelicans. So nice watching pelicans. Taking photos is great, but taking video is just amazing. This one just landed, so I was videotaping another one. I just heard a splash. Now, I'm having some fun focus tracking at the moment in video mode, but I just tried it 14 frames per second, so that's high continuous focus tracking, and I got about 80% of my photos in focus, maybe more than 80%. And like I said before, I stopped focus tracking in the forest here because there was too many trees around. Focus tracking got confused, but here, single subject, it's working perfectly. I'm just coming up the corner here. And we're going to trek up the top of the hill now. This is the part I hate. It's around half a kilometre, a steep hill. Now when I went to photograph the pelicans, I said I'd just shut the camera off, wait for them to get close. We just had a slight breeze. You saw that in the video. The breeze just totally went away. It just went to a mill pond within about 10 minutes. So I got some photos of the pelican with the water being a mill pond. Now I'm just about the top of the hill here and I can hear some wrens. I'm going to shut the camera off and try to get a bit closer and see what sort of wrens they are. So I've taken some photos of the wrens. I'll show you what they are soon. There was a lot of females around. Very hard for me to pick out which ones they are, but I did see a male. This is the sort of habitat that wrens like. A bit open, some grass around, lots of insects around this area here. I was happy with the sulphur-crested cockatoo photos, but this made my day. Now this is it, we're just about the top of the hill here. Now there is a car park up here. It's about 2/3 of the way between Bullocky Rest and Forgan Cove. So if you just want to go down to that little headland where I showed you where the finches are, you can just park here and just walk down straight this path here. It's a very easy way. Or you park at the bottom of the hill. There is so many birds here. If you want to come here, like listen to the sacred kingfisher here. It is just a great place. Lots of birds. Don't expect too many classic bird shots. You're really working for your bird photos. Very happy with the sulphur-crested cockatoo photos. I've only taken a photo of one variegated fairy-wren male. I got one at 14 frames per second on the hop. He had just took off, but there's a branch right in front of his head. Very skinny little branch, but you still see most of him. It's made my day. I'll definitely be coming back here. So that's it for me this morning, just after 9 o'clock. What you see in the background there, that's where I walked. That is where I started my walk. It's around about a 2.5 kilometre walk. It took me about 2.5 hours. Stopped quite a few times. Had a great time. Got some great photos. So thanks for watching. If you liked the video, give it a big thumbs up. Stay safe, enjoy your wildlife photography, and I'll see you next time.